This is Florence Simmons, at home in the decayed and threatening streets of one of New York City's most impoverished black areas. It's on streets like this one that Florence Simmons' life with drugs has come full circle. Starting when she was known as the Queen, a name she earned as one of the best cooks or makers of crack, a new, cheap, and deadly form of cocaine. That was in her heyday as one of the biggest drug dealers in her part of New York, until she made the near-fatal mistake of sampling her own stash. That eventually led to a one-way roller coaster ride downhill, from drug queen to drug addict, and a long, near-fatal stay at the bottom, a brush with death that helped transform her from drug addict to drug fighter.
What makes you feel like really this is it this time? Why?
Because all the programs that I went into.
Now Simmons, who is 37 years old, spends most of her days like this, in a small church-sponsored program, People United to Save Our Children.
So you're here to stay and try it this way?
Yeah.
Okay, so you're officially in our program.
Thank you.
You know?
Counseling addicts of all ages, holding group prayer meetings, encouraging former addicts to share their stories with active users.
I smoked crack from the day I conceived to the day I gave birth. When I gave birth, I was so hooked on crack, I was laying on a stretcher, knowing that I had 2 nickels sitting on the dresser. And I still wanted to pull that pipe, but I was still in pain. But I thank God today that he done changed my life.
I started shooting heroin at the age of 15. I smoked crack, I've sold my body, I've sold drugs, I've stolen. I want to say to all the sisters and brothers that are out there on drugs, the worst thing in the world.
And talking about herself and her story, one woman's way of fighting the scourge that almost killed her.
Because I was there when crack first formed the name of crack. Remember that. I was the crack cooker. My habit was over $2,000 a day. A day.
Recently, Florence Simmons shared her life experience, starting with what it took to be a successful drug queen.
Being able to run a drug ring, being a woman, being able to handle and deal with the people outside, the drug abusers, and knowing how to talk to the drug pushers to get drugs from them. Well, being brave, what they call outside, not afraid of anything, and knowing how to handle myself. I had a lot of money, where I can travel. I didn't know what it was to wear the same clothes twice. Anything I thought I wanted.
Was it very dangerous?
It wasn't dangerous for me because I had bodyguards and everything, and I wasn't afraid. The money made me. The money was really my shield.
There came a point where you stopped selling drugs and started using drugs. What happened? I mean, how did that happen?
I wasn't able to sell anymore. I started using it. What happened was I just eventually started digging into my own drugs. And I just started, being around the people that I was around and looking at them, seeing how they were feeling. I just, one day with some of my friends, her brothers were big drug dealers. And I just thought she was already using. So I just started picking up and digging in my package. And after I gave her some, I started getting high, too.
And what happened?
I liked it. And I said, wow, this here, it makes you feel good, So I just kept on and kept on. I consumed over $2,000 a day, sometime more than that. And I didn't have a dime several hours after I had that money. It was all gone. I didn't miss loving nobody. I didn't love. Love wasn't in me at all. I just hated. I had a mean streak of anger in me. And for someone to smile, it was like you were cursing at me. It hurted me. It was like a knife stab. I didn't like to see nobody happy. I remember I broke up people's homes and everything because I had a habit of going around giving. If you wasn't on the drug, I would give it to you. And you was all right. So I would keep giving it to you, then you would have a habit. then you would need me because I would have to cook it for you. I would have to buy the drugs for you because if you didn't know the streets, you just couldn't go out there and buy it because you'd get beat the same way today. You know, you would get beat.
Is this how drug dealers function? I mean, this is not just your way of doing things, right?
Sure. If they had any love, how do you think that they can take from their children, not feed them, leave their children and forget? A day to a person that's using drugs, a week is like a day. That's how somebody can go to the store and they can go for a week and come back home and don't realize why somebody's fussing at them because they feel like it's just been some hours. See, when you high off of that drug, you can hear a spider walking. That's how people can accidentally kill someone because you hallucinate. And you have no friends. Now, everybody can get down and say, let's get down and let's get a quarter or half a quarter or something. Everybody's so happy, they're chipping in together and they're smoking. Soon as the drugs go, everybody is suspicious of one another. And it's usually a fight breaks out.
What happened to you that made you give up your habit and your attitude about drugs?
I almost lost my life twice. It had to be the grace of God. I remember that I was going to jump out the window because I was sitting there looking at the birds flying, and the sun was so bright. And I remember something saying, you can fly just like those birds. That's why I can understand how somebody can jump out of a window and think they can fly. I wound up, it was 15 years of drugs, 5 years of alcohol, and all of this, a total of 20 years, all of this was in my life. And it was about going into my 15th year, I started really feeling tired because I wasn't getting high anymore. And I was tired of the things that I was doing. And really, I would come into a thing of in and out the way I treated my children, you know. And when I'd be able to see for a minute, I'd feel bad, but it wasn't nothing I can do about it. The incident that I remember of my daughter, how she was standing on this blue crate, fixing, she had flour, Aunt Jemima flour and water in a bowl, and then she was making pancakes. She was right next to me. I was right next to her at the other side of the stove, but I was making crack. And only for a second, I realized, and I felt something just for a second. I looked, and everything got bright. I'll never forget that. And I looked, and there she was, standing there. Her brother was just holding on to her. They had become inseparable. Nothing, everything they did together. They went to the bathroom together. They did everything together. You know, she had become his mother.
She was 5?
5 years old. She had became his mother. Before I go back to drugs again, I asked God to take my life if I would ever. I would rather, if I had a problem so bad that I felt like I was gonna, if I picked that drug up, I would kill myself first. Because I know what I went through already and I can't go through that again.
They arrested you for credit card fraud, right?
Yes. And for some reason, when they locked me up, I'm telling you the truth, I said, I'm glad, that's good. I'm glad. Because I knew I wasn't going to stop on my own. I knew I couldn't stop on my own. And I knew I didn't have the strength to walk into a program. You know, that's why this program is good. Because if you call places, they always give you an appointment. And it seems like if a place gives you an appointment, that turns you off right then and there.
Where are the mistakes? Where is the system making its mistakes with drug users, you think? Or
doing it, I believe a lot is they go by the books. You know, a person can go to school, they can read books, and they can get a degree for something like this. But that's not going to help a person, really, because I wouldn't open up to you. I wouldn't tell you all the horrible things that I really feel is like stupid. You wouldn't understand, no matter what you read. You just wouldn't understand it.
Do you see any light at the end of this tunnel? Any hope?
Yes, I do.
Where? How?
Yes, I do. Well, through me, and through other individuals I've met, and through people even like yourself who's concerned about taping this for someone else to see. all of this means something, because there's somebody that's sitting out there that went through what I went through, or may not even have got to the point that I got to. And hearing some of the things what I've been through, and also sometimes when you lay it out what a person is doing, and they say, wow, that is right. Because I didn't see it until I was out of it. I didn't have nobody to sit down and tell me.
Is it possible, you think, to get a handle on it?
We can get a handle on it. If we have a little program like this, I believe in every borough, if we make more programs like this where you can just walk in and you can get some kind of help.
Is this something you have to fight the rest of your life, or does there come a time when you're totally free?
You're always going to have to fight. And everybody that's an addict will tell you that. It's an everyday fight. I can smell a cigarette sometimes, and that brings the symptoms of me getting high. I can inhale the smoke, and it feels like, wow, I feel like I just sniffed some dope or shot it or something, and I feel the taste of the dope in my mouth. I feel it all. You know, all of that comes back to me.
So it's a constant struggle. And for somebody not as strong as you, who don't have the supports that you feel you have, what hope is there?
If you don't have a made-up mind, God cannot do anything for you without a made-up mind. You have to be tired of being tired. That's all it takes. Without a made-up mind, nothing can be done for you. Nothing at all. And you can't, this right here is not a lifetime thing. You can't beat the streets. You see, people are dead and gone, and the drugs is still going on stronger. So it's no win. You know, no one is exempt.